today I want to give an insight of the typical interviews that are done in the current, or rather modern, contemporary institutions, especially the private institutions. So before then, my name is Ruth Kerubo, and this is Teachcrest International. Thank you for joining me. So I'm just going to share what has been my experiences, and I'll just give you an insight of what it is, because I believe in sharing. Okay, so as I was doing the previous live, I had started giving you details of how it happened, what happened. Unfortunately, I had to go off the live because of distractions from the baby, but hopefully right now he's asleep, so I'm able to do this live. So I was saying, like, that Friday, that the 14th of March 2025, so I went for that interview. So I was received, like I already said. I went in, I was ushered to the reception. So generally the secretary was on a call, so I was just asked sit, using gestures. I sat. There was a colleague there. Is it a colleague? Another staff member for that institution. So you never know. At first I thought it was a fellow interviewee. So it turned out to be another staff member. So so how you conduct yourself is really important, and that's why it's not good when you arrive at an interview you become mouthy. Learn to shut up, because you don't know who is who. Ebo assume, like, I sat there, then we are starting doing this small chat, and you find maybe they are the deputy principal or whoever that would influence the decision. You see, it will really work against you. So once you're there at the interview venue, try your best to be as professional as possible. Invest that time to do something else, constructive. Like there now, on the reception, you could watch TV about the school, so it will even give you a recap on what to expect. There was also a table with some books. There was as well some Taifa Leo, and there was also the standard newspaper. So what I decided to do, after you have checked, I have everything, bas, I had to keep myself busy as I waited for my time. So I started reading, and the fact that there's a CCTV there, it means even if they want to come and rewind, they know the kind of person you are. Like for me, since I'm a teacher of Kiswahili and Geography, and Kiswahili is a language, someone expects you to be updated, to be kept abreast with current issues. How will you be kept abreast with current issues if you don't love reading? So you must be someone who loves reading. Like in Kiswahili, we have a lot of set books, and we use different theories to analyze these set books. So you need to be a reading. Demonstrate that from the word go. You're a person who minds their own business. No one wants an employee who will be all over the place and they're not doing something constructive. So when you have that time, you have reached the venue, try your best to be in your best behavior. All right. So after the secretary was over with the call, she asked me to go and collect a form there. I was courteous enough. I explained myself. Hi, I'm Ruth. I was invited for the interview, and I'm here. So she said welcome and handed me the form to fill. And it's important to say, mwalimu, whenever or whoever, when you go to an interview, have at least your own stationery. I'd carried my pen, but I didn't know where it was. It had been misplaced. So it was also a good opportunity for me to express my soft skills by asking her, could you please help me with your pen so that I can fill in the form. Now, let's come to the form. So The first question was, what's your name? I wrote, yeah, Ruth Kerubo Nyakundi. What's your age? I wrote. Now, there's this part that was totally annoying. And it's really, okay. One was being asked about the number of children, and you're given a list to say their ages. After there, I was expected to write where they school. Next thing was about if you have a spouse, you have to write your marital status first, then the name of your spouse and their occupation. Until there was like, oh no, is this happening really? Because I think most of us don't know what the Constitution says. And what annoys me, there was an HR there. We had an hiring manager. We have a people's culture, department. And they cannot even pinpoint those little things. It was so unfortunate. If it was someone doing a kienyeji kind of interview, it's fine. But now here we have a professional and they're encouraging discrimination. I don't think it was right. So, according to the Constitution of Kenya, Article 27 and Article 5 of the Labor or Employment Act, it states that one should not be discriminated against marital status, gender, disability, tribe, parity, or whatever. You see? So, I don't know. But for private institutions, it seems that it's the norm. I was going through some of the groups, like the executive job hubs. I went through Africa's Leading Ladies. I went through some of the teachers' groups on various platforms, and it was so unfortunate about how they would recount being asked about such questions. It's totally annoying. So I don't know. It's totally annoying because one, I just want to fit into their shoes, but still it doesn't make sense. For example, if someone asks me about my marital status, what am I supposed to say? Married, you could be engaged, it could be complicated. Already, people have started forming a judgment about you. If you say you're married, the good thing is that people will assume that you're responsible. They'll assume, okay, you have a partner who needs your time. So if that job is strenuous, it's demanding, they will want to know how you'll be able to handle that, If you say you're married, especially for ladies, they will be concerned. It now works against you because in this case you'll be discriminated, that perhaps you'll be having marital issues. Some days you'll come maybe with a black eye, umechapwa. Sometimes you come late or whatever, but sometimes it could not be true. And that's why for me I would advocate for even probation. Let this person work at least even for 3 months. Within that grace period, you're able to have a 3D or even a 4D perspective about them, because people can lie. Yeah, and it's not good to make such presumptions. Some of us, yes, we could be married or whatever, but we got our shit together. So that is it. About the age. And now this brings me now even to the story of children. If I'm in my mid-20s, to be exact, 25. So, at this time, this person obviously is at their prime time. That is if they are interested in childbearing. So, yeah, I've told you I have 2 children. And you have asked me about their ages. I've told you. Like, one is, I think, 7 years. The other one is 11 months. And you'll be like, you have a small child who is less than 2 years. So probably you'll not get this job. You'll be asking for offs to go, maybe to take them to the clinic or whatever. If you also say you have school going kids, there are days you will have to take an off so that you go to maybe do a visitation, the academic conferences. A lot comes in, maybe your child has been involved in indiscipline issues, so they might come. Okay, the good thing I saw about when you ask about children, their ages and where they're schooling, especially about the schooling, it's okay if you have a compensation package. For example, if I have a child who is within the level that I'm teaching in that school, they can be admitted and maybe I pay just a quarter of the fee. It makes sense. But now, you just try to look at the correlation between the job you're seeking versus the question you've been asking. They're not hazipatani. There are people who have been denied jobs because of that. Some actually, you're being told, even you do a pregnancy test before the interview begins. Now, I don't know how healthy that is, but I think someone should just disclose at their own time. And in any case, something like pregnancy just goes forward. Haiwezi fichika. You understand? And you are not employing the pregnancy, you're employing the person, their skills. Like for me, in my former station, at first I was scared whether I should disclose that, because it was an online whatever interview. Then I aced it, I traveled all the way, then I met with the principal. I was okay. I wore those, what do we call them? Waterfalls. It's not a waterfall. Ponchos. Yeah, that's what I was wearing, a nice poncho. And my Lindy is very hot, so he was wondering why I'm dressed that heavily. So along the way, I had to say that, and he was like, you shouldn't have told me. But I told him, look here. Bills have to be paid, that's one. And number two, I am the person who has the skills. And that's why I tell women. And I was hired. I worked throughout the time, even after getting delivering. I still reported back to work, and it was okay until the CBE happened, and some had to be terminated. So what I'm trying to say is that women out there, please give a chance on your dreams. Just go there with an optimistic mind. Show up. Please show up. I did show up. The fact that I traveled all the way from Machakos to even Kilifi County, that speaks for me like I was a person who was ambitious. And some of us, when you're pregnant, is actually the time that you're more energetic. It's the time, okay, when I try even to look back, there are some risks I will not take at this time. But that time I was like, no, it's now and now and now. So don't second guess yourself, like I said yesterday. Just show up. Show up. And don't overpossess about the emotions. I'm pregnant, so what will happen? Just go. What is the worst that can happen? Just being told, we cannot hire you. That's the worst that can happen. About disclosure, it's a technical aspect, but I will say this. Answer questions that you have been asked. Women, we love having this caretaker court. You're just used to telling people stuff, or rather you want to give information that you feel will be helpful to them, but unless asked, shut your mouth. And that does not mean that you are deceiving them. It was your skills, your experience that took you there. So even before you became pregnant and decided to apply for that opportunity, it means you had the qualifications. So yes, you're a qualified pregnant woman. Pregnancy is not a disease unless maybe you are having serious issues which are Okay, maybe you have been recommended by your doctor to go for a bed rest. So again, you have to present these documents from your doctor. Don't forge, so that you will be compensated. So I've said, ladies, learn to give a chance to your dreams. Go. Bills will always be there. And people think, like, especially if you're a single pregnant woman, that is the hardest thing as far as job seeking is concerned. But your problem is just financial. The moment you figure out, it's okay. But now for married people, it's actually even tougher, because you have even a psychological burden that you're expected to handle. So in such a case, we need to have even enabling environment to support our women to grow career-wise. Some have halted their careers. They had to quit just to go and take care of a child. Or you have career gaps because of parenting, mothering, fathering, whatever. I will say that is human. You just need to know how to also stay on top of the game, because no one will listen to your sob stories and be like, I slept hungry, I have pending bills to be paid. No, this time when you go to that interview, try your best to be the aspirin to your potential employer's problem. What am I saying? Try to know their pain points so that you be the problem solver. Don't focus even about yourself. Yeah, just sell yourself. You become like a product. You say what you're good at, etc. Okay. Another thing I wanted to say is just know where you are headed to. So stop the self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. Yeah, don't self-sabotage. Just go there. You'll figure things out, Even if you have a small child, for example, you can take care of your shit, You can take them to a daycare. You can have your DM. And I can tell you, favor is everything. You could be taking everything, but if you also don't have favor with God and man, it's not going to work. It's not. So try your best, just show up. You never know. You could even go with your crying baby. You take them to maybe the watchman's place, and you find you're getting that job because you are good at it. You presented yourself and you are the perfect match. And if you are ignored, they don't pick you, it's still okay. We learn to tame our expectations, because yeah, if they're not good for you, they're not indeed good for you. Not now, not ever. Yeah, it's as simple as that. So I wanted to also say this: be open-minded. Yeah, be open-minded. For example, you could be pregnant, and anything is bound to happen. You can go and deliver and you lose the kid. So I don't know what should happen in such a case. Should you be given that maternity leave because now you're nursing an injury? But just go, even if it means going just to meet people and network. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that marital status. So after filling in that form, as I was telling you my story, there was now the point, the section. You fill your academic qualifications. So yeah, you write whether you have a degree, do you have a master's. At this time, I think someone can already tell, because they have a given budget. For example, I have a master's and I'm seeking for a certain role. That master's depends. Maybe it's a master's in education. In this case, you might get that job, but again, you might not get because you're overqualified, or you're not stroking the ego of even your employer. So it's okay. It's okay. Some, because they'll be like, you're here, maybe you're not matching your demands, and it's okay for you to go elsewhere. But again, I think we have a poor tendency as Kenyans. Most people go to school to avoid working. So you'll find someone even has a PhD but has no work experience. And that's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. So what I would encourage people is, as you are also advancing your studies, try to also be working. Be building on your CV. Be building on your CV, your curriculum vitae. I understand for some positions, they actually want postgraduate experience, like after graduation, where have you worked? There are those who disregard even those small things you are doing, or maybe you are teaching some academy while still in campus. Some might disregard it, but for your first job, maybe it's an entry job, you can use the things you've been doing, even if it's business, even if it's raising that child. You've been learning about management. You've been learning even about being patient, delivering content here and there. So try to know how to frame your narrative to favor you. Yeah, if maybe I'm an agriculture teacher, have not been able to get a job, but I've been at home doing some gardening, why can't I mention it? Actually, yeah, mention those things. Also, now the next section they were asking is about the experience. It was just open. You don't know whether to say the number of years of experience because it was just 2 lines. But anyway, we wrote whatever we wrote, and yeah, the rest were about official comments. So I believe this would have been done by the administration before they give you the final report. So far, asking us as teachers and other professionals to look into the details, be keen to see what is being asked there. Some can be discriminatory, but just give it a try. Yeah. So, is there anything that I have not touched on before I go to the next thing? Oh, there also I felt it's important to mention about these institutions which ask weird questions, like, do you have plans of childbearing? I think the best answer there is, we plan, but God has the final say. You can say, yes, maybe I want children in the next 5 years. Maybe 1, or you don't want. You even put family planning and it backfires. So what do you do in such a case? God has the final say when it comes some of these things. And it's just a blessing. Yeah. For some, I'm told, you are asked such questions and even asked to sign that you will not bear children for the next 5 years. Yet you are at your prime time. Some have not been lucky to get employed as late as mid-30s. So someone is around maybe 35. You're asking them to sign in the contract that they will not bear children, yet that was maybe what they wanted. So they were looking for stability, because childbearing comes with responsibilities. You need financial muscles. Financial muscles, my friend. Kwanza diaper. Oh my. Oh my. Huh? Milk. Paying the nanny. Oh, you need money. Hospital bills. You're just okay during the day, then the child is sick. You need financial muscles. So someone has told you, don't bear children maybe in the next 3 to 5 years, you'll be in your 40s. And we know the biological clock is still ticking. How sensible is that? And most of those institutions that do that, it's so unfortunate to say that they even have poor remuneration package, poor working conditions. You'll find even you're being paid 15,000 or less, and you're working from maybe morning as early as 5, and you're leaving as early as even 10. So actually it robs you, it robs your soul. You don't have time even for yourself, you don't have a social life, you just work. And it will be even hard for you to advance because of the salary is small, you want bills to be paid. So if you don't play your cards well, kitakuramba, it will lick you. Yeah. So I'm urging you people, don't sell yourself short, just know your worth. And that brings me to another point that I must say, that these people even quote as low as 10,000 out of desperation, or even 5,000, yet you have maybe a degree in education, you have maybe a diploma or whatever qualification, and when you try to look, that 5,000, is it able to meet your needs to start there? Unaharibu soko, unaharibia kila mtu kabisa. And anyway, I don't want to get mad, but let's be realistic. Don't downplay yourself. You know how much has been spent for you. Like for me, I know in my high school we spent over 100, half a million. So at the back of my mind, I know there must be a return on investment, come what. So whatever I'm likely to quote should be higher, because yes, I have the exposure. Yes, I want to develop, enhance myself to be better than the way I was yesterday. You understand? So I'll not play safe. No, we did not come here to play. We came here meaning business. So don't sell yourself short. Yeah, all those things you have acquired, go and share. So yeah, I sat there. I waited and waited. Then I went in for my interview. So upon knocking the door, there were two ladies. So apparently the HR, I didn't know she's the one who had called me about the interview. Yeah. So I met them and they were like, hey, give us a minute, so that, yeah, they were having some tea break. So I stood there outside. So they're also learning even about your patience. You, this person who will be waiting, or how. No, even from the moment I was now asked by the secretary where I'm directed to go, because there are CCTVs everywhere. So I was so keen, even how I was walking, my pose. Yeah, I had to walk head high, shoulders, you can't walk, because even the way you are looking at the students, the way they were walking, marking schemes. So you also have to have that executive presence, like I said in the previous video. So yeah, I allowed those the principal and the HR to take their tea. Then I was ushered in, was given the seat. Now, don't ever learn to knock, basic etiquette. Learn to knock, hello, yeah. Then don't sit until you're offered the seat. So I stood and I was told Karibu, and I was given the seat. I said thank you. Yeah, then we started the interview. So hapa sasa ndo mambo inaanza, inachemka. Hey, for those people who have anxiety at this time, your English leaves you, or whatever language you're using leaves you at the reception, and you're alone. For some, you start tensing up, you start fidgeting. But the solutions, we'll be tackling this in the next upcoming videos, what you can do, to improve your confidence. Yeah. So they started the interview. The icebreaker question is, hi, tell us about yourself. I read somewhere, I think it was on Africa's Leading Ladies, and there was a lady who said, hiyo swali humaliza kabisa, tell us about yourself. So when you're asked to tell us about yourself, there are very many techniques you can use to answer that. For those who have watched career vids by Mark Moon, yeah, I think that I've got the pronunciation right. He talks about the SEAT method. SEAT, S-E-A-T. So S for skills, E for experience and exposure and education, A for the achievements, and T, I don't remember the T, what it was, but that's what you're basically supposed to say. Then there is also another technique you can use, whereby you can give your name, just a basic introduction. What are your qualifications? Tell us about your present, what are you doing currently, and what are your future prospects. For example, I can say, hi, my name is Ruth Kerubo. I'm a young, dynamic educator. I am an alumna of Kenyatta University, having maybe a Bachelor of Education Arts in Kiswahili and Geography. I am currently a teacher at such and such a school. I've worked in different maybe roles. Like for me, I've worked as a returning officer for those school elections. I've played a role as a class teacher for 2 consecutive years. Yeah, you can tell them you're maybe into curricula. Some are so keen on that. Tell them about projects that you've done. Like for me, I mentioned the fact that I've ever went to mentorship programs. Some are voluntary. I've been engaged in tree planting. That's very important, because as a geographer, obviously you expect someone to be an environmental activist. So I was also big to mention that I've vied for the seat of congressperson, female congressperson, School of Education in a particular year. What did I learn? I told them all that. And because like for me, under my core competencies, I talked about enthusiasm. So I had to even showcase or demonstrate that enthusiasm by saying that, I'm excited, to be in this interview for to get this, new role. Yeah, you can tell them maybe what you're looking for, but if you're not so sure, you can chat. Something just so brief that gives an overview of who you are. Yeah. Is there something that I need to mention more about that? Yeah, so the T stands for the type of person. So who are you? Are you someone who is dependable? Are you someone who is ambitious? Like for me, I'm very industrious. I'm very hardworking. I'm also a resourceful person because I read a lot. I listen to people a lot. I love stories. So I tend to be a go-to person. Yeah, all those things, tell them about them. Maybe you're a person who loves working with teams, tell them. Yeah, so that's what you do. I don't know whether there's also something here. They can also ask you, tell us something about you that is not in this CV. Hey, Mera Chindu, karibu sana, welcome. Hey. Yeah. So, when you're told to tell us something about yourself, you can also decide, what's up? Yeah, I'm sharing about teaching job interviews and giving just my recent experience and just pointers. Yeah, that's what's up. And there's also rains over here in Kenya. Yeah. So tell me about yourself. 1, You can decide to approach the problem and how you solved it. Yeah, you can tell them that. You can draw correlation between past accomplishments and future success. And this is worth noting. You can use both, even personal success. Like for me, I even mentioned that I got a second class upper, missing first class by just 1 point. So definitely, because I'm in the academic industry, the education industry, they know if I was able to get that result. And they were not sexually transmitted. It was pure hard work and God's intervention. So for sure, they will know that I'm able to replicate that. Even by going through the transcript, they'll know this is it. Yeah, so don't shy from sharing your personal success. Brag. That is the question that gives you a time to brag. Humbly brag. Huh? Don't just say results will speak for you. No, just be tact in how you're expressing yourself, how you're showing your achievements. If I say I'm a result-oriented person, why can't I tell them how maybe I got children, maybe who are low achievers, and I changed their attitude and they started performing? Even if it was an E student who has started getting a D grade. Progress is progress. And that's what people are looking for. Value addition. Yeah. For some, you can be even tempted to guess the means, because I was asked that question. But yeah, just know how you can use your past accomplishment in your favor, right? Then you can also de-escalate a heated situation and how you influenced a successful resolution. Yeah. I don't want to give more details, but yeah. Also share why others like working with you. Yeah. Like for me, I think people like working with me because I have a nice aura. I attract people and they tend to even share with me because I'm easygoing. I don't judge in most cases. Yeah. I can also stand in. I'm a person who can be depended on. Yeah, you can count on me. You can bank on me. I'm open. Yeah. I also have a listening ear. So that is why partly I've been even in worked in the guidance and counseling department. I can listen. Can get your story. Actually, some even students come to me and they get to share. So yeah, tell us about those things, why people like working with you. Yeah. Also describe your leadership philosophy. Like for me, I believe in servant leadership and transformative leadership. Like for servant leadership, I can give you a good example. Sometimes we like you find teachers maybe are like, no, sweep. You're telling students sweep, but they're not taking those instructions. Sometimes you have to show them what exactly you want them to do, so that they don't feel like it's so bad. As much as maybe sometimes it's a punishment, you're just trying to show them the value of work, the essence of work, so that they don't hate work. They normalize work, especially manual work. So maybe people are washing their verandas. You can just give them an example of what you want to achieve. Yeah, I lead by example, that is. I also believe in transformative leadership, whereby you get to change someone's attitudes, aptitude, and whatever. Yeah, I love seeing change. I love leaving a place better than I found it. So yeah. So you can tell us about your philosophy. Maybe you're someone who is dictatorial. Yeah, and this will help you to know whether you're even a perfect fit for that job place. Another thing is provide feedback. Yo. Also create a packet of learn more about me materials. Yeah, especially if it's an online interview. You can tell them where they can find you, maybe on other platforms. Yeah, it's also a means of marketing yourself. So that is, tell me more about yourself. The next question I was asked, why did you leave your first job? Yeah. So people want to know why you left. Actually, I was even asked this question randomly by another lady, Vera. So she happens to be a mutual friend to one of my ex-partner. So she asked, why did you leave Machakos? And I told her I didn't see that coming, even in that current interview, So, professional. Even if you left a third person, you are not in good terms, don't badmouth your employer. So let me give you pointers of what you can say. So don't emit negative vibes and portray lack of emotional intelligence. Yeah. So, in short, what the hiring team is looking for is a convincing reason as to why you left. They're also looking for a positive reason as to why you left. And they're also keen on knowing the kind of person you are, the type of person you are. Yeah. So, the answers should be either you left under your own accord, or it was you were fired for such and such a reason. Now, here are pointers of some of the answers you can give, or rather how you can phrase it. You can say, I have worked at the organization for a long time and wanted to experience a different environment to help me grow. Number 2, you can say, I'm looking for an opportunity to advance my career. So Divina, Swahili teacher, asked this question on Africa's leading ladies, and most people were keen on saying, yeah, you left for you wanted growth. You are seeking growth, basically. Yeah, so you can mention that. Number 3, you can say, my role changed over time and I was no longer doing what I was interested in. Maybe you signed in as maybe, there are those schools you find you specialize in a certain subject, and you find along the way you are now diverting. Maybe I went in as a teacher of Kiswahili and Geography, but along the way the lessons maybe of Swahili and Geography are minimal, and being a class teacher, you're now doing more of life skills. As much as you'll want to learn, there's something that you are interested in, or you are looking forward to get an opportunity to work maybe with a candidate class, and where you're working currently, you have not got the... My name is Mira. I'm from India, Kerala. I am Ruth. I'm from Kenya. Yeah. So you can tell them about the need to advance your career. So I was talking about the candidate class. You can now tell them that maybe what you are doing, you are being given more classes in the lower section, maybe in the 844, perhaps you are doing Form 1 and Form 2 instead of the pre-candidate and candidate class, because at the end of the day you wanted to build your CV, right? So you might want to move out to seek greener pastures. Another thing, you can tell them, maybe I reassessed my career goals and decided my current role no longer fitted into these goals. Let's say you have gone for there's a time, I think it was 2024. Yes, I did apply for the role of a communication tutor in a TVET. So here they will be so curious why I'm leaving Kiswahili Geography in the secondary section or wherever and deciding to go into the communications. Perhaps I will tell them, I'm seeing maybe my Kiswahili can go well with communications. I fell in love with communication and I want to explore that. So yeah, whatever, as long as it's positive. Maybe you have got a master's in maybe Kiswahili and communication. So obviously you're looking for better opportunities where you can grow that career. And this reminds me of a thing. So my partner, around November, so after that letter, you guys we have reduced the workload, so will not be able to sustain you. It was like, I found a job, but I'm not sure it's the right fit for you. It will halt your career. Yeah, because it was not in the health sector. As much as I was enthusiastic, and it was, yeah, you just want something on your hands, and of course the financial perks and working around him, that would be fun. And that's how he told me, I don't think this is right for you, because I've also struggled. Okay, he has a degree in natural resource management, and he happens to be in now the health sector doing the accounts. So in most interviews he has gone, you find that you have experience in the health sector more than the environmental, the natural resource management, whatever. So, and that's how he has been able to miss a couple of opportunities as much as he wants to go there. You understand? So it's good for you to reassess yourself from time to time, so that you know where you want to, where are you at, you do a SWOT analysis. Okay, so about career pathway. Maybe even in the former station, labda there were no opportunities for you to grow career-wise. You're not being even suggested to attend these things like NACOSTI. What else? We have these organizations that teach a lot, like for the sciences. I've forgotten that word. SEMASTI. Yeah. So you find you're losing out. There is no maybe in-service training, or if you have to go, you're taking unpaid leave. So you've decided to assess and you're like, no, I'm not growing in this. So get to tell them. Another thing, or you want to grow into managerial position, and here you are now just a classroom teacher. You don't feel like for 30 years plus, your prime age, you're going to spend it in 4 corners of a class. So you have decided to opt for something else. So tell them. Also, another pointer you can tell them, I didn't feel I had more opportunities to grow and further my career in the role, so I sought a change. You're seeking change. Yeah. Another thing is that you're looking for opportunities and responsibilities that your current role doesn't offer, so as to gain skills. Like I was saying, someone like Komono on Facebook is a person I love following. So he started out as a teaching assistant in Brighton. Yeah. So after working around 6 months or 3 months, he now wanted to go into the real teaching, not just being in the support system. I know the advice is, especially if you want to go into the international schools pathway, that is one of the way someone can go there. You start from an entry level, like a teaching assistant, or you did something like special needs, and you're just going as a technical support officer. Then along the way you will now start upgrading. I know some have to start even from mid-year levels up. Some have to go maybe for extra papers. You do maybe an international baccalaureate in a certain curriculum. So it really depends with who you are and what you're looking for. So If you find those responsibilities are low, or that's why you decided to apply for another job. So that's what Komono did, and he's now working in the Middle East, Yeah. So another thing is looking for a position closer home so as to take care of ABCD. So ABCD could be things like, family. Yeah, like for me, I'm so keen on family. I'm a family person. So I wouldn't mind having a job closer to my partner. In as much as this contemporary world, we are now having to get used to long distance, I think it has an expiry. Along the way, you're like, no, we cannot be doing this. It's not sustainable. It has a lot of insecurities. You're leaving your home and go, you might want an opportunity that is closer home. Maybe you have a farm that needs to be taken care of. Yeah, tell them. Maybe you have ailing parents. Especially as we grow older. Ndio nimeanza kujua bana tunazeeka. So you might have maybe ailing parents and are having a terminal illness. So you might consider having a job that is closer so that you can be monitoring them along the way. Yeah. And I think this is the ideal time for me to give my thoughts about this thing about TSC and place of birth. So previously there was about the delocalization policy, and there was an outcry. People were like, you are removing us out of our original homelands, such kind of things. But again, on the hindsight, for people like me who come from areas where people are learned, watu wamesoma, Nyanza, Rift Valley, people are so learned. Like in Kisii and Nyamira counties, you find we have a lot of teachers. Actually, I think as far as the recruitment is concerned, there are around maybe 2019 for the sciences, and maybe 2017 there. Those who graduated in 2017 for the humanities and whatever arts. So it can be a challenge. And now for ladies, it's even more challenging, because now if you're having this contract, maybe like the BOM, you're going and meeting people out there, right? And you'll find you have built a solid relationship that has led to something serious like marriage. But now, lately, since 2022, low-key, even TSC has been so keen on employing people, even if you have low marks, that you should be from a given county and a given sub-county. And that's so unfortunate. Because, yeah, all of us are qualified, but the moment we throw merit out, maybe someone had few marks, but because they are local inhabitants of that county, they get. Also, I understand it's okay for the person who has got that job, especially like you have graduated and got, you'll not be able to understand the pain of someone who has stomached. You'll be now talking from a point of privilege. You understand? You'll be like, perhaps this person is not hardworking, but the truth or reality is, like in the replacement, what happened? You'll find like in a given county, maybe the county of origin that you are, there is even no such a subject combination, so you are locked out. It's not like you're not willing to work, but the opportunity was not there. Then when you sought the opportunity in a different county, there were other competitors who happened to be the local inhabitants, and they get the job and you don't. I don't know what your thoughts are, people, but I believe, I don't know whether you should change your ID now for people like me who have a passport holders. What do we do? Because it will now be contradicted. So can I go and say that I want to be in such a place? I don't know. You guys, perhaps you can tell me what to do about it. But let's be optimistic, you know. If it was meant for you, it will be meant for you. Again, yeah, what I've realized, yeah, you could be even from that county, that sub-county, but still stiff competition. Very stiff. And I don't want to be sued. I've heard about cases where people have had to bribe to get jobs. Now, for example, you're using 300,000 to get an internship with a stipend of 90,000. I think around 19,000 after 17,000 after the deductions. I don't know whether there's a return on investment there. Because when you try to look keenly, for example, in those internships, like for the JSS, there was no meals, which is okay. You can carry packed food, and it could be a remote area, so there is the commuter allowance. Okay, it could also be from your home sub-county, but that doesn't mean that it's really near you. So that also means you will still be incurring rent, unlike what people in Jogo House to be assuming that, you know, you're operating from home. No. Yeah. So it is what it is, but we hope for a better change, or I don't know. And this is what propels me to feel like I need to pursue education law so that we can strengthen our education system. There's something that's not right, absolutely not right. Yeah. And you know, that even put this issue about MPs giving out letters. What can we say? If you're not connected, ask favor from above. That's what I can say. Alright, so I was saying about things you can say in case you're asked about why you left. Another thing is you went back to school to continue with your studies. Yeah. Or advance your studies. Yeah. And maybe it was now getting tough, it was getting serious, so you had to quit the job so that you can concentrate on your studies now that you've figured it out, or you have graduated. Here you are seeking for the new opportunity. You can also say your position was eliminated and you were laid off. And in this case, it's good that you ask your former employer to give you a letter of recommendation. That's the best they can do for you, so that it can speak for you. It's more official than having to convince people. You know, not everyone will believe you that, you know, the position was how. So mwalimu, have good rapport with your seniors so that they can even recommend you. Yeah. Another thing, you left for mental health or family reasons, and now you're able to return to work. Hey, this one is a bit heavy, as much as it's genuine that you left for mental health. You know, someone will be probably like, so it was a toxic environment and maybe you needed, I don't know, but whatever. Because at the end of the day, especially as a teacher, remember, we are impacting lives, and you don't know where that influence will go. So it's good that when you go even to that class, when you're dealing with, okay, we are dealing with human beings, it's good that we go with mental sanity. We prioritize mental sanity. Like, you cannot even deliver content, and not only content, be able to impart the skills, attitudes, and all those things if you're not mentally stable. So it's really keen for you. Maybe you can tell them, I was having a mental breakdown and I had to seek professional intervention, and now I'm okay. You can even provide the records, recommendation by your doctor or therapist that you're now in a stable condition and you're ready to take up that role. Maybe you were having a court case and it was taking a big toll on you. Now it is sorted, you're okay. Yeah. Another thing, there was industrial changes in your previous role, and pivoting will keep my skills and career marketability current. So if there was restructuring happening in your industry and you are laid off, tell them. Just be honest, be genuine, give something convincing and original. Is there another thing I need to touch on that? Yeah, so about why you left a certain workplace, be as professional as possible, be positive, and tell them things like, you're seeking new challenges, growth, and a role for a new challenge, or you're looking for room to allow you to reach your career goals, and such kind of things. Yeah, and tell them how you are now in a position, to solve the problems they are having. Okay. Yeah. The other question I was asked, I think those were the main questions. Is there anything else? Okay, these ones I'll come later. Okay, let me just say, how can you be described by your students in terms of discipline? So this is a question you're likely to be asked in terms of behavior. Yeah, I don't know. At that point I was like, how can I know what my students describe me as? But for me, I said I'm a no-nonsense person. But I think I should have toned it down and maybe said I'm a strict person. So they went ahead to tell me that I failed terribly because we had done a demo and I chased my students out for making noise. So again here, teachers, I want to enlighten you about classroom management. Yeah, modern classroom management. So if a child is making noise, your learner is making noise, your student, your pupil, please punish them in class so that they don't. Okay, the argument for them was like, don't you believe these students have paid and they have a right to learn? Because when I threw out my students, in this case the HR and the principal from my class, the demo class, it was subconscious, that's what we even grew up saying, are you making noise, you're thrown out. But here they were like, these people have paid, so they need to be in class. So in such a case, what they recommended is the child to sit at the back, to stand at the back or kneel or anything. And I was like, yeah, my geography teacher used to do that, Mrs. Burgay. There was also Madam Bertha. She will literally tell us to stand on our lockers. But I find it dehumanizing, especially for ladies. Now, assuming someone is on that prime time, yeah, they're on their P's, and you're telling them to stand. What if their pads fall? I don't know. It was not nice. But the general thing is that don't use canes. Corporal punishment is outlawed. Please, Mwalimu, don't even pinch them. Yeah. The other questions, is there anything? I think it's really important. Don't think. So I want us to go to now the technical parts. So we start with Kiswahili. Yeah, let's start with Kiswahili, some of the questions that I was asked. So, by you being asked these questions, they generally want to know whether you're a content master or you're that book and chalk master. So, for Kiswahili, I was asked, that HOD asked me, what are my strong areas? Hey, I didn't see that coming, because when he asked me, what's your strength? I thought like I should say things like hard work, but he was now in terms of what do you prefer? between Kiswahili and Geography. It was a bit tough because I love them. Anyway, I say Geography. Just a guess, because I hadn't thought about it. But now looking at it, I can say I'm good at both. I don't have a preference for any. In any case, all of them, even in KCSE, they had the same grade. In university, I never minored or majored. I just took them as regulars. So, yeah. And the results generally are around the same. Yeah. And I love them all. That's why I do content for Kiswahili and Geography. Though the demand here has been for Kiswahili, especially the set books, and I tend to do more of Kiswahili set book content, unlike Geography as much as I love Geography, you know. And it's so hard to express yourself in Kiswahili, my friends. Hey. Kwanza written Kiswahili, it's a bit hard sometimes. So that's why I think I subconsciously said, yeah, Geography. Anyway, we went on for the Kiswahili, and mwalimu was asked, how many papers do we have in Kiswahili? So according to the 844, we have 3 papers. We have paper 1, paper 2, paper 3. Karatasi ya kwanza ambayo ina insha, kuna insha ya lazima ambayo huwa ni insha ya uamilifu. Alafu kutokana na hizo insha ambazo zimebaki 2, 3 na 4, unachagua moja ambapo unapata ni insha ya ubunifu. Haya, karatasi ya pili unapata kwamba tuna sehemu ya ufahamu, pia tuna sehemu ya ufupisho, pia tuna lugha na pia tuna isimu jamii. Karatasi ya tatu tuna fasihi. Katika fasihi tunapata kwamba unaweza pata swali la lazima ambalo huenda likawa ni kutoka fasihi simulizi au fasihi andishi. Na katika fasihi andishi utapata kwamba tuna vitabu 3 teule, tuna tamthilia, hadithi fupi na pia tuna riwaya. Maswali yanatokana na hayo. The second question I was asked is about now the first paper. Karatasi ya kwanza nikaambiwa niweze kudokeza vipengele vinavyotumika katika uandishi wa risala. Risala. So here I'm reading my notes. Risala. Okay. Has it gone? Risala ni taarifa inayopelekwa kwa mtu au watu, aghalabu inayoeleza hoja inayotokana nayo. Huwa ni hotuba fupi ya kiongozi wakati mwingi. Na kuna aina 2 za risala. Kuna risala ya heri njema na pia kuna risala ya pole, pia huitwa rambirambi. Haya, vipengele au muundo wa risala, nikasema kwanza kuna anwani. Utaandika ni risala kutoka kwa nani, kielekezo kwa nani. Haya, kwa mfano ni risala ya rambirambi kutoka tuseme Kerubo kuelekea kwa familia ya labda mwenda zake Chebukati. Unaona? Haya. Katika mwanzo kuna salamu na lengo la kuandika ile risala. Pia kuna sehemu ya mwili, hapa utaandika kuhusu hali iliyoko, matatizo, mapendekezo na maombi kwa wahusika. Kwa mfano unawaombea waweze kufarijika. Pia kuna hitimisho, kuna msisitizo wa hoja. Kapata. Nikaambiwa niweze kutofautisha kati ya tahadhari na onyo. Tahadhari na onyo. Na nimefunza haya. Tahadhari. Tahadhari ni maandishi yanayokusudiwa kuelekeza mtu ili aepukane na hatari au kuelekeza yale anapaswa kuzingatia. Kuna aina 2 za tahadhari. Tahadhari ya kwanza inaitwa ilani, na hii huwa na jukumu la kuarifu juu ya tukio fulani. Ni tangazo la kuelekeza mambo ya kuzingatia. Kwa mfano, naweza pata kuna ilani kuhusu jinsi utakavyotumia labda simu ambayo umeweza kuinunua. Inakupa maelekezo. Haya, pia kuna ilani kama wakati shirika la umeme liliweza kusitisha umeme katika sehemu za Nyanza, kulikuwa na bonde la Ufa na kadhalika. Hiyo itakuwa ni ilani, notice. Pia tuna onyo kama aina ya tahadhari. Hapa unatoa madhara. Kwa mfano, tangazo la makatazo huwa na maneno na picha andamizi. Kwa mfano, ukiangalia katika zile zinaitwa nini, miti ya stima utapata kwamba kuna picha pale ambapo wamechora kibonge cha mtu, alafu kuna mifupa, alafu wanasema hatari. Hiyo itakuwa ni onyo. Huwa na maneno na picha andamizi kama nilivyofika kusema. Haya, ni hivyo. Kwa mfano, andika onyo katika mbuga za wanyama, ama kama kwa kambarao lift, utapata kwamba hufai kulalia hiyo kambarao. Hiyo ilikuwa ni swali la pili. Swali la tatu. Niliulizwa maswali kadhaa. Haya, tukaingia katika karatasi ya pili sasa. Nikaulizwa niweze kutoa maana ya chagizo na aina za chagizo. Chagizo ni sehemu ya sentensi ambayo inafanya jukumu kama kielezi. Kusema kweli, hatuna aina za chagizo, na hivyo mimi nikawa nimetoa aina za vielezi kama na mifano yake. Kwa mfano, nilitembea kitausi. Ni mfanano tu. Kuna vile vielezi ambavyo ni vikariri. Mwenzangu ni nani? He told me. Tuko na chagizo aina 3. Chagizo ya mahali, chagizo ya wakati na chagizo ya maana. In short, he was basically talking about the adverbs. Adverbs of manner, adverbs of frequency, adverbs of whatever. Yeah. Shamirisho. I don't know how this applies in real life, but for interview, that's the only place I've applied that content. Shamirisho. So nikaulizwa nitunge sentensi ambayo inadokeza aina za shamirisho. So we have 3 types of shamirisho. Yeah. So we have the subject, object and the doer. Yeah. So nikatunga sentensi kwa karatasi ambayo nilikuwa nimepewa. Na kwa mfano, unaweza ulizwa, nikaandika sentensi: nyanya alijengewa nyumba na wanakijiji kwa matofali. Haya, jambo ambalo limefanywa, kitenzi ambacho kimefanywa ni kujenga, na kitu ambacho kimepokea athari ya kujengwa moja kwa moja, ambayo ni shamirisho kipozi, ni nyumba. Haya, kitu ambacho kimepokea athari ya kujengwa kwa nyumba ni shamirisho kitondo, ambapo itakuwa ni nyanya. Na kitu ambacho kimetumika kujenga nyumba ya nyanya, ala ambayo imetumika ilikuwa ni matofali. Hivyo itakuwa ni shamirisho ala. Nikapata. Haya, jambo lingine ilikuwa ni kuhusu nini? Aina niweze kudokeza au unganifu kama kivumishi. Kidogo kinirambe, nilitoa tu unganifu ya kuonyesha umiliki. Kwa mfano, badala ya kusema kitabu cha mwalimu kimeraruka, nitasema cha mwalimu kimeraruka. Pale cha ni kivumishi cha umiliki. Acha niangalie zingine kutokana na kitabu changu. Vivumishi. Unganifu. Akaniambia pia kuna a unganifu inayoonyesha mpito wa wakati au nambari. Wa kwanza, mwalimu wa kwanza ametahiniwa. Wa kwanza pale inatumika kuonyesha nambari au orodha. Hata sijui kama kuna a unganifu nyingine. Aha. Ndio niliandika mimi. Nilisema alikuwa anauliza 3. But I can honestly say people, when we are given these opportunities, hey, don't grill teachers that much. Ish, mwalimu, why are you grilling your fellow teacher like that? You're making them feel incompetent. Actually, I'm learning even from my notes. I had only that one. Ya kuonyesha umiliki. Anyway, we move on regardless. So, I will urge you teachers to do what? To prepare. Hey, read. This is not like your ordinary TSC verification of documents. Here, you have to go technical. You even have to go through your campus notes and the syllabus. Hey, my friend. Anyway, so we went now to the part of paper 3. Paper 3. Yeah. So the first question I was asked concerning the Kiswahili literature is, what are the things that we consider when doing set book analysis? Tunazingatia mambo yapi, vipengele vipi katika uhakiki au katika kufanya tahakiki? Here we look at ufaafu 1:1, what's the relevance of the title? We look at falsafa ya mwandishi, what is the philosophy of the writer of that given set book. We also get to know the content, the themes that are there. So tunaangalia maudhui, pia tunaangalia jumuiya. We talk basically about wahusika who are there. Who are the characters and the character traits, and what are their relevance to the literature that is concerned. I don't know whether there is more that I should have mentioned. Oh, we also have the mirror. What was the aim of the author? We also look at tasnifu, yani maelezo, maneno au mawazo ya mwandishi kuhusu maudhui. Yeah, sometimes we get to look at the plab. Hiyo ndio inaitwa tasnifu. I also got to mention about muundo, and I mentioned we have 2 types of muundo, the ordinary muundo. Like for a riwaya, it will be so different from tamthilia. For riwaya, you'll be using narration, prose. But maybe for things like poetry, it will not be using prose language, it will be using short. Yeah, so that is the main, what will be the distinguishing factors for that set book, given sets. Yeah, but again, when you continue looking at that structure of given set book, we have now things like style coming in, the stylistic devices that have been employed, things like similes, tashbihi, utaziongelea hapo, matumizi ya lugha na kadhalika. So I got that one. Yeah. The next question was umuhimu wa muhusika. So what is it linked to? Umuhimu wa muhusika tunaangalia vipengele vipi? So for us to know the role of a character, we usually try to look at the role of the character in depicting real life. Remember, literature is just the mirror of the society. So a certain character will be portraying what is in the society. So utaangalia umuhimu wake, anawakilisha nani? Haya, jambo la pili, you will look at what the role of this character is in building other characters. What are they saying about others? Huyu mhusika anafanya kazi gani katika kuwajenga wahusika wengine? You also look at the role of a given character in building the plot of the given set. Huyu mhusika ametumika vipi katika kujenga au kuendeleza ploti ya kazi fulani. Pia you can also look at the role of the character in creating different themes, like themes of change, yeah, themes of which themes do you know? Mnajua maudhui yapi? Wana, kazi, ajira, all those things. And you can also look at the role of a character in building the conflict and as well as the resolution. Yeah, so I got that one. Perhaps naweza ongezea umuhimu wa mhusika. Okay, am I there? I think okay. Umuhimu wa mhusika fulani unazingatia yafuatayo. Anatumiwa kusawiri nini? Ni kielelezo cha kina nani katika jamii? Anatumika kuendeleza maudhui yapi? Anatumika kuonyesha tabia za mhusika yupi? Anatumika kuonyesha changamoto zipi ambazo zinajikita katika jamii? Anatumika kuonyesha athari ya nini? Kwa mfano, katika Nguu za Jadi tunaona kwamba mtu kama Mrima ametumika kuonyesha athari ya matumizi ya dawa za kulevya. So a certain character can be used to show the effect of something, and that brings us to now the aim of the writer writing a certain thing. Maybe they wanted to sensitize the society against maybe use of a certain thing, yeah, to raise awareness. Pia anaweza tumika kuendeleza ploti. So those are the things basically you look at. The next question I was asked, aina ya mandhari. Aina ya mandhari. So tuna mandhari ya wakati, tuna mandhari ya wakati, mahali na hali. Mandhari ni nini? Mazingira ambapo kitu kimefanyika. Kwa mfano utaangalia vitabu tofauti viliandikwa wakati fulani. Kuna vile ambavyo vilitungwa wakati kulikuwa na kutafuta ukombozi. Kuna vingine vilikuwa vimeandikwa kabla ya ukoloni. Vitakuwa na maudhui tofauti na vya sasa. Unaona vya sasa vinazungumzia mambo ya ubwege, jinsi ambavyo tunataka kujiokoa na kadhalika, vinaongelea mambo ya ukoloni, mambo leo na kadhalika. Hivyo tuna mandhari matatu. We have 3 types of setting: time, place and situation. Hali ni nini in English? Yeah, so we have 3. Then he went ahead to ask me umuhimu wa mandhari. No, it was not asked, but basically if I have to mention it, inatumiwa kutambulisha wahusika katika onyesho, hutumiwa kudokeza hali ya mchezo, hutumika kudokeza utabaka, kuonyesha maudhui, kueleza pahali pa tukio, kuelewa wakati, kuendeleza ploti, kuonyesha mgogoro, kuonyesha changamoto, kujenga tabia za wahusika, kuonyesha athari. Mfano upate kwamba wanaonyesha mhusika fulani ako katika hali ambapo anafanya nini? Hajachana nywele. Tayari tunaweza kumuona ni mtu ambaye kidogo hajajipanga. This person is disorganized, or the way they are depicting, let's say it's a play and you're seeing a very old couch, you're likely to conclude they come from a low income setting. Yeah, maybe someone has maybe gold chains, you're likely to assume they are coming from a rich family. Like utenzi wa mwana kupona, you see they tend to mention about the necklace. Yeah. So I got that right. So we have 3 types of setting: hali, wakati na mahali. Ngine wahusika katika nipe nafasi. I was hey. Okay, so I was asked, have you read all the set books? Yes. So yeah. And nipe nafasi is in the anthology of what do we call it, mapambazuko ya machuyo na hadithi zingine. Hiyo hadithi iko pale na umeulizwa wahusika. Ambaye niliweza kumkumbuka vizuri sana ni Richman. Sikuweza kukumbuka jina la mamake, lakini hivi sasa nina majibu. Anaitwa Katili. Nikaweza kuongelea kuhusu babake, nyanyake. But I had a clue. Yeah, I didn't. Mia. Yeah, but that again, I don't know. He should have asked a simpler story, like Sabina. Anyway, we move on regardless. Where is my work? Hata angeniuliza kama hii harabu. I'm not getting it. Why? Abigail. Oh my. Okay. So, the characters there were the narrator, nafsineni ambaye anajiita Richman, ambaye ni neno la lakabu. We have Mama Kazili. We have Baba, the dad, who was called Moshe. We have Grandma. We have Grandpa. We have the small sister called Napaseka. We had a brother. We have dad. We have Mukaatini, who was, I think, a village man. We had an uncle known as Madweba. Yeah. So at least I was able to remember Richman. Yeah, and the mother and how it happened. And now, there was also another story I was asked about, Mzimu wa Kipurere. That I get to explain how the setting influences. Can I remember that question? I think I'll come to it later. The next question was about the storybook. No, this play, Kwanjaseli. Kwamba ukilazwa hospitali ni kama umeshalala seli. So those were words by Asna. They are in hospital. She was telling their mother. Yeah, it's in page 42 of Bembea ya Maisha. So mimi nikasema nilikuwa maneno ya sijui Dina nikakosa. And I don't know what happened with my mind, or it was mommy fog. Anyway, don't have to have a monopoly of knowledge. Yeah. So that was it. Ukilazwa tayari unakuwa umeonja seli. Hata wahudumu wenyewe hawana mlahaka mwema. Amri na vitisho kama askari, unashindwa kama uuguze moyo ama ugonjwa. Naam, hayo katika swali la muktadha unafaa ujibu kutumia vidokezo vinne. Ni maneno ya nani? Msemaji ni nani? Msemewa ni nani? Walikuwa wapi? Na ilikuwa ni kuhusu nini? So you're supposed to say whose words are those? Who are they talking to? Where were they? And what was the context of the word? Yeah. So hapa ingekuwa ni kwamba yalikuwa ni maneno ya Asna. Alikuwa anamwambia mamake ambaye ni Sarah na Neema dada yake, walikuwa hospitalini, walikuwa wanaongelea kuhusu hali ya kuwa hospitalini. Okay? Yeah, that one I accept defeat early in the morning. Okay. Another thing I want to say, teachers, before you go to that interview, it's like literally you have to prepare like a student. You have to be conversant with the trends in your industry. So because they were asking me even question like, what swali la lazima lilitoka wapi? And I'm like, maybe it was riwaya. I don't know. Yet I had shoot these things. But I think I have a lot of things in my mind, so I forgot. But anyway, so kuna ulizo ilitoka wapi? And I said, riwaya, and they were like, no, it came from hadithi fupi. Which story? I didn't know. I said Sabina. I was told no. So he never gave me the right answer anyway. So I'm gonna do my research. Though I know I shot a video about it around November. Yeah, November, December there. That was in a hurry. So yeah. So as you go there, know about your industry. Every time, try to better your best. Be better than the way you were. That's all I can say. Yeah. Try to be better than the way. Hey, that is Dinor. I can't read the word, but yeah. So try your best to better your best. So know your industry. You know, if you are enthusiastic about something, you'll want to improve. You know what? These things are right on your fingertips. Yeah, don't be caught off guard. Yeah, so don't go for those interviews thinking you're going to play. No, you have to prepare, and that will give you confidence, and you'll appear serious. Because now the moment you're not able to ask that question, such simple questions, especially about your area, what were tested, it increases the number of questions. Now you'll be asked, what have you been doing at home? What have you been doing? Are you at work? Nini? So yeah, try your level best to be revising. Yeah, do your level best. The final question I was asked, linganisha sajili ya dini na sajili ya sokoni. So here we had an heated argument with the interviewee, yeah, because I was telling him, kulinganisha, you're basically comparing, so you're giving both similarities and differences. So for me, I was able to tell him in both, kwa zote tuna matumizi ya mziki, yeah, in both, you know, like at church, we use music for worship, as well as in the market, we use music as a subliminal way of marketing. Karibia customer, you know, and there's maybe some soothing music. In both, you find this, what did I want to say? Yeah, so I also went ahead to say that you find that in church, or in a worship setting, religious setting, you tend to find there is a lot of reference, unlike in marketing, in the market, you know, unless maybe it's a referral. Where did you buy this blazer? That's when I can say. So I want to give him that, but he was like, no, kulinganisha, you just only give the similarities. And he went ahead to give an analogy about the linganisha slippers. I don't know whether you guys have gone to those cheap hotels where you find maybe there's a red and blue slippers and they are cut at the back, and maybe there's a capin. So he was using that, but Essentially, I don't think that point they were really looking at the content at that place, because we had to argue. Maybe they wanted to see how far, in terms of my emotional intelligence. I think that was what was being tested, because I was like, no, mwalimu, I beg to disagree with you. And I was so convinced, even after doing my research, I was right. So, also, I want to say, if you're a teacher and you happen to have been invited as an interviewer to interview a fellow colleague, because anyway you're a subject master, a subject specialist, also ask realistic questions, also have realistic expectations. Yeah, because for me, I was like, now after doing my research and I find that I'm right, I'm like, was it necessary for us to have that even heated argument? And you're so adamant to admit. I felt it was so unfortunate for us to have, like, that is the educator of our children, and they're misleading. Misleading. Ish. Anyway, that was it about the Kiswahili parts. Now we go to the geography part. Here. Okay, before we go to the geography part, I was asked to do a demo teaching for Kiswahili, and I was given a topic to teach about analysis of a sentence. Yeah. So nikaweza kufunza kuhusu uchambuzi wa sentensi kutumia mstari. Yeah. So you're given 5 minutes to do that demo. So here we are going to discuss this in details in other upcoming videos, what a lesson should look like. But technically they are trying to look at your lesson planning, how you even do your presentation, marking. Yeah. So yeah, I went to the board, I had my mark pen. I asked questions, like, when you're starting a lesson, you have to be enthusiastic. There's the introduction thing, like set induction. We have the greetings part. We have preview of previous knowledge. You want to know where your students are so that you can continue. So I did that. Thereafter was delivering the content. And while you're teaching, try your best to mark, because you must assess. You are also trying to, like for me in my CV, I had written about differentiated learning. So how are you going to do that if you don't get to use a variety of teaching methods? So you can even use pay and share, you can use group discussions, projects, so that it's a variety of teaching methods. So don't just go there and you're lecturing. Yeah, also that gives me another point about the marking. You're not only assessing the students, but you're also trying to know whether they have understood the content or not, so that you can have something when you're doing a reflection to write on your record of work. You have some content. You cannot come and say all students were able to answer questions. How did you come to that? It means probably you marked and the weaknesses that you saw and what is the remedial action you're going to do. Maybe even you're looking at the handwriting and you're like, nah, we just have to do something about it. Yeah, so identify not only the weaknesses, also while delivering your work, reinforcement. Hey, there's so much that goes into teaching. So if they get the correct answer, tell them, yeah, excellent, good, perfect, so doctor, vizuri. So in Kiswahili, use what? Ndipo. Even you write them. They love seeing those ticks. You're motivating them. Yeah, that's part of motivation. And like, also discourage chorus answers. Let them learn to even raise their hands. Also, you as a teacher, as part of motivation, know your students' names by heart. Oh my. Kerubo, yes, like this. If someone doesn't get the correct answer, you don't tell them no. tell them good trial, mejaribu, but hujagonga ndipo, wacha nani atamsaidia, such kind of things. And as you're marking, my friend, while you're going through the class, to ensure some are not even reading novels or doing other things while you're teaching, so you have to do some movement. Smell nice. Nukia vizuri. Smell nice. Even in that interview, what I forgot to say yesterday in that live about preparation, try your best to have to smell good, to smell fresh, yet not overbearing, because we are there, you are there to express how you're best fit, so not necessarily about your pheromone attractions, Also avoid this seductive sense. There for a seduction. Ama uko kutongozana, no. You're there to just market yourself. So don't have something that's so strong. I think something that is a bit fruity, fresh, and it's slowly emitting. And people, shower, especially if you have an issue with body odor. Please avoid vitungu, because now you're coming close to your student as you're marking. Even your mouth, brush. Don't be a bother to them, man. So about now the class I was telling, as I was doing that demo, my students started making noise. Some started making noise. Some are asking weird questions that are not related to that. So I sent some out, like I already said earlier, and now I realized that was a big mistake. I should have done better, maybe punishing them in class, because after I'd sent them, they came in, they were like, Walimu! The principal said, come in. So, and as they were coming in, they were like, Mwalimu, ulikuwa unafunza something about nini sahili ni nini and such kind of things. So I was like, I will teach you later. Please see me. But when you say please see me, some students never come because they're afraid, they're shy. So you just have to find a way of building an inclusive environment for learning. And international schools, private schools are so big on that because they're in business. Okay, so I accept I did a blunder by sending my children out, but that's what I will improve on. That's what they told me. I will improve on that. Okay, can we go to geography? So for geography, the questions were so fair. So I was asked to define geography. That's Form 1 content. Geography is the scientific study of the interrelationship between physical and human phenomena on the Earth's surface. Simply said, it is the scientific study of the Earth as a home of man. Then I was asked about branches of geography. So I said we have two main branches of geography: human and economic geography. We have physical geography. And we have a minor branch known as practical geography. So I was asked, how many papers do we have in geography? We have paper 1 and paper 2. So paper 1 basically is all about physical geography, and paper 2 is about human geography. So the next question was, based on the practical geography, can you give the practical aspects that are in paper 1 and in paper 2? So in paper 1, what we have is field work, and we also have map work as question 6. Question 6 is map work. That is what culminates in paper 1. So the other practical aspects of geography, practical geography, that is now photography and statistics, go to paper 2, where we have human geography. Yes. So you need to have that on your fingertips. I think along the way, because the guy was asking technical, I don't know, in a technical manner, in a tricky way, I even had to mention that, photography is in paper one. I was asking, which year exactly? I was like, in my year, in 2016, we had photography. Then it dawned on me, yes, there was photography in 2016, but it was in paper two, mining. Yeah. So, yeah, as you go there, be calm. Don't be overconfident like I am. I've experienced that overconfidence. Sometimes it's not painting you that nicely. Yeah. For Pete's sake, I saw that somewhere. But anyway, go to another thing. I was asked about physical geography, because this is now where the technical geography comes in. So I was asked about areas that I'm good at in Form 3. I said even rivers. So I was asked the difference between a river valley and a gorge. What was in my mind was about the U-shaped and V-shaped valleys. And I knew all of them are as a result of erosion, river erosion. The gorge also is part of river erosion. So there was that kadnini tension, but there was no difference actually, because at the end of the day, even after I'm doing now my revision, a river gorge is a deep, it's a narrow, deep, and steep-sided river valley. So a gorge technically is a type of a river valley. Yeah. So I was asked how a river gorge is formed. Yeah, I talked about erosion on alternating rocks. Yeah. So basically what you find is that we have a soft rock, actually a joint. So you'll tend to find erosion is happening there. There's removal of the materials. And finally, we have a narrow, steep-sided, deep valley. I don't know. How does the order of adjectives go? Kiyosako. Q. Q for quality, O for origin. Between size and shape, what comes first? I don't remember. Teachers of English, please help me. Yeah. So that's what happens there. Then we went now to mass wasting. How many types of mass wasting do we have? 2. Rapid and slow mass wasting. Tell us about the rapid mass wasting. I mentioned about the rockfall. We had mudslides. Yes. I also mentioned about avalanches, though I think the teacher was not remembering avalanches, so he was talking about landslides and how they happen. And I was like, okay, fine. Anyway, after revising, yeah, the types of rapid mass wasting, we have mud flow, landslides, slump, debris slides, debris fall, rock slide, rock fall, avalanche, and rain wash. And for rain wash, we now have gully, we have the splash erosion, sheet erosion. Yeah. And how to mitigate them. The next question from Mwalimu was about glaciation. Glaciation, the action of ice. So I was asked about features of glaciated upland area. I was only able to remember a pyramidal peak. Yeah. The rest I knew their characteristics, even how they are formed, but the words went. So the teacher was kind enough to remind me about the arrays. Yeah. So we even have the hanging valleys. That was even in my head. I could just not. I was remembering there's something that is knife shaped, this, but the words went. Hey. Anyway, as long as you have answered, you're not. You look like you know what you're doing. In any case, you must prepare before you go to a class. Yeah. So that's what happened. Okay. Another question. was about distinguishing, was it time zone, international dateline, and dateline. So time zones, I basically said these are the zones, or rather, what was that word I used? Time zones. These are the classification of times. Yeah. Anyway, so if I'm to use this 360 Atlas map for primary schools, the second edition, there is a small illustration on what happens. Like, we are being told the Earth makes a complete rotation of 360 degrees every 24 hours, which means it turns 15 degrees every hour. Remember, we are saying that the Earth is a spherical globe. Yeah, so it adds to 360 degrees. So 360 divided by 24, you find that 1 hour is equivalent to 15 degrees. And that's how basically we get there. 1 degree is equivalent to 4 minutes. Yeah. So the Earth is divided into 24 time zones. Each 15 degrees of longitude and width. The map on the right shows, okay, so you find that because the longitudes add up to 360, you split the year, so you'll find that we have 24 time zones based on the degree of rotation. Okay, so about the dateline. The international dateline, we are told, is the longitude 180 degrees here. So it is the internationally agreed time that the day begins along this longitude. So if you cross that, the international dateline, like today is on date, have I seen clearly? Like today is on March 19th. You're able, there's a place you'll find it's 20th, there's a place you'll find it's date 18. So after crossing that international dateline, you either lose or gain a day. So yeah. Then we also have the universal time, so the prime meridian. So this is the time, this is the universally accepted time zone on which time in other areas is based. So countries to the east are usually ahead in time, while countries to the west are always behind in time. So yeah, I was asked now for the demonstration to show how one loses and gains a day. And now, as part of set induction, I had to ask questions. Who has ever flown out of the country, about the jet lag and such kind of things. So it was just simple as that. That's what I should have done. Is there another question that I've forgotten? Branches of geography, rapid. Oh, now we went to map work. Was told to explain how we find vertical exaggeration. So I was like, vertical exaggeration, basically you take the vertical scale divided by the horizontal scale. So I was told, after whatever you found, how are you supposed to use it? So we find out that the vertical exaggeration shows us how many times the vertical scale has been exaggerated to the horizontal distance. Yeah. Then there was the issue about finding gradient. So gradient, I used the change in y over change in x. Hey, my math teacher alikuwa anaitwa Mr. nani? Why have I forgotten? He was also my class teacher. Linus. Yeah. So alikuwa amefunza hiyo kaingia sana hata kuliko ya Mrs. Burgay. So Mr. B. Watt had told us that gradient is change in y over change in x. So basically it's the vertical interval all over the horizontal equivalent. So maybe you have 2 points. Woo! Yeah. So let's say from my head to my what? To no, from this place, from the head to the neck. Yeah. Combine, you find distance from the head to the neck, that is the horizontal. The vertical interval, that's the change in y. Then horizontal, now the distance from here to there, because you'll have now drawn a line here, then you use that. So I was asked, how do we manipulate that? Where do we use it? So I was just saying, I fumbled and rambled. I've never thought whether it was even necessary. But now that I've done my research, I understand that the gradient, because for me, I just think gradient as the steepness of a slope. So here it was telling me about, it shows for a particular distance, how many how the ascent. So it was talking about 10 meters ascent, but I'm realizing there's not such a thing. It depends with the values that you've got. Maybe it's 1/10. It means that for every 1 meter that you're moving along the horizontal distance, you're ascending by 10 meters. Yeah. So it could be anything, so depending with what you have got. So that's how the geography interview went, and thereafter I was released. Yeah. So after being released, okay, that will bring me to another live that I'll do about presentation of your file. So I had given my file, had to counter check that everything is intact. Oh yes, I've remembered. Yeah, I was to talk about now the what do we call it? They asked me about my SDA status. Okay, or let me just go offline, then I'll do another one. Bye guys, let's meet on the next live.